When our oldest grandson was 14 months old, he had a ball discovering his world. I mean, I loved to take him in my arms and get him excited about something in God's world. I'd point to a tree or a flower or a dog or a cow, and I'd teach him the word for it. And after that, whenever we'd be together, he'd start the pointing, and he'd give me his version of the word for whatever he was pointing to. I think I saw the greatest wonder in him when he'd look up at the night sky. It didn't matter what was going on around him. He'd start looking up and pointing at the moon and the stars. Man, he loved the stars. He just couldn't miss those lights shining in that dark night sky. Well, I'm Ron Hutchcraft. I want to have a word with you today about how to light up your night. Our word for today from the Word of God talks about lights that stand out attractively against a dark night sky. But this isn't about looking at the stars. It's about being the stars. Yeah, in Philippians 2:14, God says, do everything without complaining or arguing. How you doing on that part? So that you may become blameless and pure, children of God, without fault in a crooked and depraved generation, in which you shine like stars in the universe as you hold out the word of life. Look, if it weren't for the stars some nights, it would be totally dark. If it weren't for you at your workplace, your neighborhood, your school, it would be totally dark. God put you in a dark place to light up the night. These verses help us see what kinds of characteristics will really show up in the middle of a moral night. He says we shouldn't complain. Hey, I'll tell you, if you're the positive, uncomplaining person in an environment where there's a lot of negativity, you're going to be a light in that dark place. God says here not to argue. If you're the peaceable person in a setting where there's anger and conflict and tension, you're going to illuminate the night sky. God also tells us to be pure and blameless in crooked and depraved surroundings. Okay, so you're the one who lives and talks pure when it comes to sex, even if no one else does, especially if no one else does. You're the one who always tells the truth in a world where lying's a way of life. You'll not compromise your integrity no matter how much compromise you're surrounded by. You'll be the one who's always building other people up in an environment where people are usually tearing each other down. Where everyone is pretty much looking out for themselves, you just keep putting other people first. Believe me, you live that way and you will be the light where you are, keeping that place from being totally dark. And you will win the right to hold out the word of life to people. The good news about Jesus and what he did on the cross for them, which means you may have the privilege of leading someone you know out of the darkness forever. And in the words of Daniel 12, verse 3, those who lead many to righteousness will shine like the stars forever and ever. Maybe you've been lamenting how dark it is where you work, or go to school, or where you live, or where you recreate. But you know what that means? You have an exciting opportunity. You can light up that night. When my grandson used to look at a dusky, partially dark sky, he couldn't always see the stars. But the darker it got, the more the light showed up. The darkness around you should never dim your light. Nope. It should just make it show up brighter than ever.